Hi, my name is Marie Christian. I'm the director of Voices, Manitoba's Youth and Care Network, and I work with young people in and from care, ages 12-ish up to age 30. I got involved in this line of work through my own experiences of being a young person in care. When I was in my early 20s, I learned about youth and care networking, which I didn't know existed. Didn't know that there was a network of young people who have also experienced being in foster care. So when this job opportunity presented itself, I jumped at the chance and I've been doing it ever since. When I was a child, in my early years, between, being a child and a 10-year-old, my siblings and I were in and out of care a number of times. And then when our mother passed away in 1990, we were all put into just different care arrangements. I was placed with my grandfather, so kind of a kinship care situation. Um, so that was my experience of being in care. Youth and Care networking started back in the 80s when social workers would bring young people with them to conferences, but the young people would be set in a room while the workers were off doing conference stuff. And at some point, the young people said, if you're going to bring us to these conferences, then like engage us. And I'm sure they use different words. I'm kind of summarizing the stories I've heard over the years. But that was the birth of Youth and Care Canada, or at the time it was called the National Youth and Care Network. And then from their experience, local networks in each province began to develop. And here in Manitoba, our network was started in 1995, and it changed shape a few times, changed faces of leadership a few times, but it was always driven by alumni of care. First, we were on our own, and then we were under the stewardship of a child welfare agency. And the kids said, how can we speak up against, like, if something's going on, if we're in their care? So it was moved to the advocate's office. And from there, the adult supports felt it might be better if the Youth and Care Network was in community rather than in a government office. So in 1998, we were moved to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Winnipeg, and they've been our foster parents ever since. They make sure we are wise with our money and that we get our reporting done, and they mentor me and other people who are in the director role. But the best thing is being a part of this well-established community organization allows the network to just try new things, do new things, reach out to young people in ways that they see fit, like the young people see fit. And so that's gotten us here so far. Voices is 25 years old. We turned 26 this October. So it's been 25 years of building a network of young people in and from care and building that community and sharing our experiences to help make a better system of care here in Manitoba. Any young person in or from care between the ages of 12-ish to 30-ish. And I say 12-ish because sometimes you have sibling groups who are living in a group home or a foster home, and the 12-year-old and the 10-year-old are really close. The 10-year-old can come. And then same thing on the other hand. We've had young people who've been involved with Voices since they were 18 or 15, and now they're 30, 32, 34, starting to raise their own young family, and they need the community and the support of their network, and we're not about to turn them away. So really our heart is, once you're part of the Voices family, you're always part of the Voices family. There's no shaking us. So, but yeah, so any young person in or from care, and by care I mean living in a group home, a foster home, youth justice, adoption. So really anyone who's in an alternative care arrangement. In general, we have a few different programs that young people can be engaged in. We have our Girls' Night for girls in care, our Leadership Night for young people who want to learn how to use their voice and how to just advocate for systemic change. We have Voices Rocks, which is a program that was started by one of our alumni who wanted to see more activities that young people could just be physically active and work out their mental health concerns, maybe by doing something physical. We have Scholars Night once a month for our young people who are pursuing post-secondary. There are some challenges that young people from CARE who are pursuing post-secondary experience, that it just helps to have a night where we could feed them and talk about it. Those are our main programs. And then we have different projects that just pop up based on the interest of the young people who are involved, like Voices Hug Day, where we raise awareness of the need for positive touch in the lives of young people in care, and the Voices Family Christmas Party every Christmas Day, where young people can come, whether they're living in a group home or they've already moved out on their own and they just don't know how to do Christmas on their own yet. They can come have Christmas Day with us, and we'll eat and play games and just have a good time together. The network is open to every young person, and largely knowledge of the network is spread through word of mouth, whether young people invite their peers to come or social workers or teachers learn about the network, and then they engage their young people to come be a part of the network. Unfortunately, we meet a lot of young people just as they're transitioning from care. And I say unfortunately because by then they haven't been told what to expect when transitioning from care, or they may not have been involved in making their plan of care. So it's a hustle for us to, if they haven't been offered an extension of care, how can we get them an extension of care if they are still struggling to find resources in community? We want to help in any way that we can. So we really like it when young people are involved as early as possible, and so that we can be with them as they graduate through the different phases of life. So some of the gaps in the system that I have noticed, first of all, stem from transiency in the system, or placement bouncing as we call it. So young people are often moved frequently from one placement or one shelter or living arrangement to another. And sometimes this frequent movement impacts their ability to stay in their school community, which then impacts their ability to really form relationships with their teachers and their school community that could help them to stay stable and to be successful as they go through school. Statistically, young people from care are least likely to get into post-secondary, only because that time in care is so unstable that a lot of young people don't get to grade 12, or they don't get to grade 12 before the age of 18. And if they don't have an extension of care, then it's really tricky to balance the need to provide for yourself with the ability to go to school as well. I'm really glad that, especially over the last 10 years, there's been an increase of young people who have been able to complete high school and have moved on to post-secondary, and we have more supports for them now provincially, like the tuition waiver program and various bursaries and scholarships offered by other organizations. But as a network, we want to continue to support our peers, and we do that through our Voices bursary and anything else that the community wants to offer to young people going on to university and college. There are many other gaps in care, of course, and that would really depend on who's providing the care. Are there consistent relationships? There are often frequent changes in workers, which is another change that young people are needing to adjust to. And those emotional gaps, like being able to have consistent relationship with siblings, or having someone teach them how to have healthy relationships with their bio family, with their biological parents, if their parents are still alive. No one's taught them how to really navigate that relationship as well. So there are different gaps, but everyone's experience is so different. It's difficult for me to really pinpoint um, which ones kind of outweigh the other. There's definitely been a shift and an awareness of the need for teachers to also be advocates. We get more and more phone calls from teachers inviting us to come to their school and meet with the young people there who are in care. And this is not just junior and high school, but also for elementary or later elementary aged kids. So they're recognizing that these kids need to have that sense of belonging, to know that they're not alone. I know when I was a kid, I thought that I was the only foster kid. Who knows? There may have been one or two others in my school, and it would have helped to know that. So it's really great that these teachers are creating a safe space for their kids. And I know that the school system itself is working on allowing students to stay in their school community even if they get moved. And that's so important, because especially for kids in care who might be experiencing frequent bounces, at least having the stability of their school community, at least knowing that their teacher cares about them and sees them and accepts them as they are, that makes a huge difference. I wish every foster parent knew that their young person, the young person that they are taking care of, is a unique individual who belongs to a larger community. And as the alternate caregiver, you are welcoming them into your community as well and into your circle, but also like bear in mind that they have a circle that they belong to as well. And as important as it is to welcome them and to help them to feel a part of your family, to feel a part of your community, it's also important to acknowledge who they are and where they come from. And in any safe way possible, make sure they maintain those connections as well. Connections to their culture, connections to their bio family, like those are parts of their identity that are going to last forever. So just want to remind foster families that loving these kids is great, but love all of them. I wish every social worker knew that the young person they are working with is doing their best, is exhausted, is frustrated, and just needs you to hold in there. Don't also get frustrated and exhausted with that young person. They need you to just be that steady support, as available as you can possibly be. I know social workers often carry a large caseload, but when you're with that young person, just remember to be present. And, I would just encourage them also to be as resourceful as possible. We can't expect one social worker to be all and all for every young person, but if they're resourceful and they can connect them to voices, we can meet a certain need, connect them to another community organization that can also meet a certain need. We can do this together. So that's what I would remind our social workers. I would really implore our teachers to see and recognize their kids in care in their class. especially those young people who've been in care for a significant amount of time already, they have a particular set of skills that have helped them to survive this far. And your care and attention will help them flip from survival mode to thrival mode if you're willing to give them the attention that they need. And again, I know teachers have a classroom of other students as well, but these kids in care just need a little extra encouragement, a little extra acknowledgement that it's recognized where they're coming from, but also that they have as much potential as anyone else. So don't give up. We will gladly come visit classrooms. So for young people in care in particular, we will come visit their school group, talk to them about their rights, and then any topic that group wants to talk about. They might have questions about placements. They might have questions about connecting to their bio family. They might have questions about their rights. We will talk to young people in care about whatever they want to talk about. For classes in general, we have a rights workshop that we do for all kids, because it's really important that all kids know that they have rights, and that if their rights are not being recognized, that they have a voice and they can ask for help. Either they can learn to advocate for themselves, or how to recognize the advocates in their lives who will help them to stand up for themselves. So those are the programming options we have available. For social workers in particular, we do workshops with agencies and with the authorities and with post-secondary social work classes about youth and care and about the challenges that they face and some of the initiatives that we're taking. So we just really want them to know and understand the system from the youth lived experience. So we do those workshops with them as well. Absolutely. We've had teachers, even social workers and foster parents and bio family call in the past just with questions and concerns about a young person in their life. And we will generally respond by coming out to meet with the teacher and that child so we can hear from that young person's perspective what they're feeling, what's going on for them, and then brainstorm a solution together. If it's within our capacity as the Youth and Care Network to find a solution, then we'll do that. It might be that they just need to have a conversation with someone and they're feeling really nervous about it, and we'll offer to go along with them or to speak on their behalf while they're beside us. If it's something that's outside of our purview, we will introduce them to perhaps the children's advocate who has the legislation to kind of go into spaces that we can't. But we will always respond to a young person or to an adult support who calls on behalf of the young person. The biggest challenges that I have faced at Voices over the years has just been securing funding. When I started at Voices, it was just me and the funding was just enough for me. So lots of advocacy over the years to be able to hire more young people and to have more funding available to do more programming. But apart from that side of things, the challenges we face is just making sure the word gets out there, making sure that workers are aware of the network so that they can share that information with young people, making sure schools are aware of the network so they can pass that information on to young people. Sometimes we are able to make great relationships with different administrators or otherwise professionals, but should they move on or retire, then it's a matter of rebuilding a relationship so that folks know about the network, about our values, that we're coming in to be a support. We're not, you know, going to be a negative influence on the lives of the young people in care that they're working with. So that's, I think, been the biggest challenge, just building and maintaining the relationships that we need in order to gain access to youth. For kids currently in care, the message I have for them is you are loved, you are incredible, you deserve every possible opportunity to grow and develop to your best potential. And there are folks here who will help you do that. And if you ever need someone to talk to, you have a network of young people who've been there, who know what you're going through, and who are ready and willing to sit with you and have a conversation with you, or not talk at all. Have a snack and play a game. This is your network.